2, 1.
We were going to the bingo parlor at the YMCA. Well, one thing led to another, and the instructions got all fouled up.
Lighten up, Francis.
Come, Watson. The game is afoot.
Afoot?
Beginning.
Well, then just say that.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Steel Sanctuary Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Rivero from SteelSanctuary.com. Bob Quinn's here with me, and Trent Ging is back with us. Trent, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me back, guys. Appreciate it.
Always love having you on. Mr. Korup is at baseball practice. He will not be joining us tonight, so it's just the three of us. We'll hold it down without Dave. I think we'll be all right.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, lots to talk about tonight. Let's start with Justin Tucker, the artist formerly known as Justin Tucker, no longer a Baltimore Raven. To me, that's pretty big. He was a pretty big part of their weaponry on offense, knowing that you have that get within 60 yards and you had a field goal in your back pocket. I think that's going to hurt them.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they did it. But then again, I know people point to the allegations and all that, but I don't think it's that. If you look back just purely from a football standpoint, didn't have a great year last year. Probably cost them the victory against the Steelers in the first game. Because let's face it, if he makes one or two of his kicks, they probably win that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you draft a kicker, and I think that pretty much says the writing's on the wall for your current guy. But they took a kicker in like the 6th round or something, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I noticed that right away. I'm like, ooh.
I'm like, he's gone.
But I think, honestly, the allegations have to be what really did it. I think that I saw something on XA. It was 20 allegations now he's up to for the massage things now. Yep.
I thought it was only the one.
Oh, no. Well, listen, I didn't really dig into this too far, but I saw someone tweet that it's up to 20 allegations now. So,
wow.
If that's true.
Some stuff seems very similar to the Deshaun Watson thing. Some stuff kind of coming out of the woodwork from years and years ago.
Yeah.
But still, if there's smoke, there's usually some fire.
Yep. I'm trying to look at his dead cap right now. Yeah, it's only it's $7.5 million for a kicker. That's a lot of dead cap money to swallow. So that's it's a big weapon for them. I don't know anything about this kicker they drafted, but can't be Justin Tucker. They can't be that lucky to get.
He's been in the league a long time though, right? I mean, I want to say he's like 12, 13 years in.
It's got to be something like that.
Look it up real quick, because with a kicker, it's kind of they can go on for a long time, and he lost. I mean, he's not a 65-yard range guy anymore, but he's definitely still a top kicker. Let's see.
I think Alex Kozora tweeted he was 60 of 64 against the Steelers career-wise. And you take those two misses in that last game, he had only missed 2 in his whole career before that. So good riddance, and God bless to Mr. Tucker. Hopefully he ends up in the NFC somewhere, in case he has some kind of career resurgence. We don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And then the obvious joke is he ends up in Cleveland. Which would be fucking.
It would be kind of
gold.
funny.
That'd be gold. That would be gold if he ended up signing.
He's 35, so
yeah, he's probably on the downside of his career for sure. But
yeah, for a kicker, he could still play another 3-4 years easy and be pretty effective. I mean, as bad a year as it was, and it wasn't great. And I want to say he was 22 for 30. With a long of 56. So not great, and certainly not by his standards.
Yeah.
But, he missed 6 kicks in 22, 6 in 23, or 5 in 23. They missed 8 last year. And then he kind of had that stretch at the beginning of the year where he was really bad. And he seemed to kind of even it out as they went along.
Yeah, he definitely had the hiccups early in the season, but he did straighten it out.
His season was very similar to the Chris Boswell season that he had when he had that hamstring issue.
Yeah.
Remember, Boswell had that roll down year, probably, what was that, 5 years ago now? I mean, it's been a while.
I was going to say 4 or 5 years ago now. It's been
and then he he found his way back. So I don't know if Tucker was kind of dealing with any type of issues like that. Lower body issues for a kicker would be obviously big detriment, but
Yeah.
Yeah, now Boz is only a year younger, and you can start to make the case. I mean, he's got that 88.
Steelers drafted a kicker too. I mean, they brought an undrafted.
DFA.
I'm sorry, undrafted. My fault. I don't want to jump.
I don't think he's there to replace Boswell, but
No.
you can kind of make the case now. Maybe Boswell is the best kicker of this generation if you go back and look.
I mean, you could probably make that argument. It's close. He's been so good for the Steelers. They got so lucky signing him. He's been phenomenal.
I mean, his worst year, he missed 7 kicks back in 2018.
That was that year he was hurt.
Yeah, and otherwise, I mean, he's never missed more than 4.
7. Wow, time flies.
Yeah.
All right, Bob brought up a point to me that I hadn't seen. Bleacher Report is reporting that, in their rankings, that the Steelers had the worst offseason of any team in the NFL. I couldn't dig up the whole rankings. I mean, we can get into it. It's DK Metcalf, and then what? I mean,
Darius Slay. There's a mixed reaction about him in the fan base, but I mean, the dude still played like a number 1 corner last year for the Eagles. They just won the Super Bowl, so that's hard to argue when they had 2 rookies they brought in, high draft picks, and he still looked like the guy in that room. So for me, I know it's a 1-year rental, but I mean, he's still playing at a high level. I think that was a really good signing.
Yeah,
Trent, 34-year-old corners scare me to death. The cliff is there. Whether he falls over it this year or he manages to dodge it, we'll see. But
yeah, well, you got to look at how well they played. I mean, when you look at Peterson when they signed him, because everybody's down on older corners because of Patrick Peterson. When the signs were there when they brought in Peterson that he wasn't as good the previous year as he was. Like Trent, he's probably the number 1 at worst number 2 corner on a Super Bowl team last year, and he's in the top 20% of NFL corners. That's why I advocate so strongly for Stephon Gilmore. He's not the defensive player of the year anymore, but he is definitely a top, 25, 30-ish corner still. And even if he's a top 50 corner, that's still a lot better than you got. It's still a starting corner in the NFL. So I would love to have both of them.
I'll ask you guys a question real quick. Can you confidently say Joey Porter Jr. is a better player right now than Darius Slay right now?
I'm lukewarm at best about Joey Porter Jr. Lukewarm at best. I really think his career is teetering. If he can't find a happy medium with those penalties, I can see a scenario where he goes downhill pretty quickly because he's going to start losing confidence when they throw enough flags where he's not using his hands anymore. And that's his big weapon, the long arms. That's his big thing.
Well, the thing about Joey is, okay, he's a man press corner. What did the Steelers not play last year? Man press. I mean, it doesn't make which they really couldn't because what are you going to do? Man press one guy and then play zone all over the rest of the field?
These Band-Aids and these not drafting corners and signing these older corners for years. Well, and again in this draft.
That's the thing with Slay over Dante Jackson. Slay can still, he showed last year, he can still play some man press corner. I mean, you probably don't want to live in that world where you play it exclusively with Slay. But that being said, if you played it 50, 60% of the snaps, I think you make Joey better right away. And that being said, I don't care that a corner is handsy. I really don't. I mean, he had that one stretch where it was really bad with the penalties. But even then, I mean, if the option is, okay, I get beat and give up a 60-yard touchdown or I give up a 5-yard penalty or occasionally a pass interference, I'm okay with that. I really am because I think that's the way the NFL has gone. I think you try to get away with as much as you can possibly get away with and dare the refs to call every play. Because let's face it, you watch teams like Kansas City and Philly, they're handsy. They get called. But at the same time, they're like, you know what? We're going to do it every play. And are you going to call it every play? Because sooner or later, you're going to face a bunch of heat from the refs or from the fans going, what the hell? Why are you calling every single play?
I felt like they were calling it every single play for a while there, though, last year. I mean, I think veterans get away with that. Younger players maybe don't as much, so he's just got to find that, that level where he can become a more respected corner and be able to use his hands and get away with it. I don't know. I'm a little. Go ahead, Trent.
That's why I've been so curious about some of these signings that they've been bringing in. Dante Jackson was not a press man corner. Like, he tried it early in his career. He got toasted pretty much repeatedly. He was never a press man guy. He obviously, every single interception he had last year, which everybody loves to talk about, he was a good signing because of the interceptions.
Yeah.
It was him in zone where the ball fell in his hands.
Yeah.
He didn't even make plays on the ball. Like, it literally fell to him.
Yep.
Patrick Peterson. I mean, the year before he comes here, very zone heavy defense.
They
like, he was not
almost exclusively zone that year.
Yes, he was not a man cover guy anymore. Like, that had way past him at that point. Levi Wallace, I mean, he was too slow to run that. Like, I mean, he was not built for that. Like, so, you're going out and taking what is essentially a first round pick in Joey Porter, because there was, not a full 32 picks in that draft that year. And you're taking him and completely taking away his strength and making him play a whole different style of ball than what he should be playing. And then you question the pick, because if you're going to do that from the beginning and not give him the tools he needs to be the press corner, then what are we doing as a defense? Go get a press corner guy to pair up with this guy. That's what the Darius Slay signing to me is we're going to give this a real shot to let him play in his element and see if he develops. And if not, then they have a decision to make next year.
And even I was going to say, even worst case scenario with Joey. Okay, let's say he's not cornerback one. Let's just say that he's going to be a pretty high level cornerback too. So I'm okay, even if he turns out to be okay. If we're not going to play man press, he gets better at zone. He is what he is. I mean, or let's go to man press and let's let him shine. I mean, the idea behind the man press is, so your edge rush can get home. I mean, them relying on TJ and Alex and Herbig to just beat instantly and put the pressure on and just let balls lob into them. Once they started getting blocked, that strategy goes out the window. You gotta put some heat on it where, then maybe a quarterback is thinking and throws it a little too early, and now you can bring Minka into play or Elliott or maybe Sebastian Castro to go pick those balls off.
Yeah, I think we could write a book about the strange way the Steelers go about running their defense under Mike Tomlin. It seems like they blow with the wind. They don't stick to a plan. They change things all the time. And now we've seen this overreaction to the Ravens, whether we really want to think that or not. They're determined to stop the run now, which is fine. It was a weakness. They had to address it. But again, no corners in this draft. They almost completely ignore the secondary and just, put these 1 year, 2 year stopgaps in there. At one point, are you going to start like the Eagles did last year? The Eagles saw a problem. Our secondary is fucked. They went out and drafted 2 corners and fixed it. They fixed the problem. And they had Slay.
Yeah, and fixed it to the point where they could let Slay go.
Yep. It's just, I don't know.
And I mean, I think the philosophy side of this is they think Corey Trice has something there. Yes, I think they really believe heavily in Corey Trice. Probably putting a little bit more faith in him than they need to based on his injury history. But they have a clear faith that this guy could be a guy. And I think if you watched him last year in the Cincinnati game, he was left on an island a lot with Jamar Chase. And I mean, I know people are like, oh, well, Chase still had 8 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown or whatever. But the dude won the Triple Crown as a receiver. That's a good freaking game for a corner if you hold him under 100 yards. I'm sorry.
If you're going to leave him one-on-one, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially your first career start.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's obvious talent there with him, and I think they're putting a little bit too much stock into that talent. But at the same time, Joey is Ike Taylor. And if you took Ike Taylor out of press man, I don't think he's got the career that he had here either. And so, you have another lone corner that's young on the roster that they really believe in. Should they have drafted a guy? Sure. But there's so much faith in Corey Trice. It's kind of crazy to me.
It's insane. It's because that guy, I mean, you want to talk about a proven injury history. He's never been able to stay healthy. And to put anything I mean,
well, he was healthy kind of the last quarter of last season, and I think they want to see, hey, can he stay on the field? Hey, compared to some of the other guys they've had with injury histories, I mean, at least he played a few games. So,
that
I mean,
guy's.
I think, and the thing is, it would be interesting because you want to talk about playing press coverage if he's healthy enough to do it. I mean, Trice is a big dude.
If in a perfect world, if he stays healthy, I agree. He's got talent, and him and Joey Porter Jr. could be a nice 1-2 combination for a long time. I don't know how you hang your hat on that at all. I would have drafted a corner early. Hey, if Trice works out, then you got 3. Perfect. But if not, at least you have something to fall back on other than an injury-prone corner.
The spot where you maybe could have got a corner was the 4th round. You could have got a guy like Longer Beam or somebody like that where they took Jack Sawyer. So you added to the edge rusher depth where you knew, okay, let's just say, okay, our top 2 are solid. You know, they believe in Darius Slay. There's no reason not to based on last year. So 1-2 is good. But number 3 is where, okay, if Corey Trice is your nickel corner and all indications seem to be they think he's going to play there, where's your depth behind that? I mean, go get a guy who's either a boundary corner or get a guy like Longer Beam who could be an elite slot corner and throw him in there.
They definitely needed to.
I'm a
little heavier.
I'd be afraid of Corey Trice being in the nickel. I mean, I don't know that he's that fluid that he can play in the nickel. You get a lot of small, like shifty guys in there, the Tank Dells of the world and stuff like that. I don't. That'd be
if he's in the slot, then he's going to have to tackle more.
Okay,
and be in the mix in that, which is not good for his injury. You know,
I'll tell you how it could work though, because as big as he is, and a lot of those slot guys are smaller. If you go press on the outside and Joey presses, Darius presses, and Corey Trice presses, Trice is going to really be able to interfere with those smaller guys' routes. And that's how you're going to have to play him. Because if you're going to just have him drop and float, no, then you're going to get carved up big time. But if you're just going to say, okay, we're going to play press man and maybe go into like zero blitz type of deals and just be like, okay, if Trice gets beat, he gets beat. So what? We're just going to count on the fact that we're going to get home beforehand. I mean, the indication of playing a big guy like Trice, yeah, it's great in theory, but you got to bring a serious pass rush, and I think you got to be Blitzburg to make that work.
They don't want to.
Yeah. We knew Austin loves to go on 3rd and 5s. He likes to drop our guys about 7 yards off the freaking ball and concede a first down.
We could spend a week of podcasts on the frustrations of the Steelers defense and the way they play. You know, playing nickel the majority of the time against the Ravens. I mean, it's just on and on and on. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's trick. Oh, God, you got anything else on this before we transition?
Oh, no. I was going to say, when you look at this now, so we addressed the front 7. That's what we did. So, like, when we talk about this worst offseason, you know, you threw a bunch of shit at the wall on the defensive line, plus you drafted Harmon and Yaya. And then, you know, you got depth at linebacker and edge for some reason. You sort of ignored the corner spot. And really, you know, you're hanging your hat on from an offensive standpoint. And when we flip over to that side of the ball, that DK and George is going to work.
I mean, everything we talked about their offseason was they were trying to get comp picks, so they weren't signing premier free agents. And whether you believe it or not, they were saving a little bit of money for Aaron Rodgers under the cap. Well, okay, fine. They've got their comp picks for next year. They didn't really sign anybody to outstanding at any position. And you still don't have Aaron Rodgers. So I can see where someone from the outside looking in would say, well, that's a pretty shitty offseason for the Steelers. They added DK, which was great. Big time upgrade in the wide receiver room. They needed it desperately. Gave up a 2nd-round pick, too. But they got their guy. And they got Slay. Okay. Well, I'm not as high on it as you guys, but I can live with it. And that's it. I mean, the rest of their free agent signings were just a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
I see this. Vaughn brings up Asante Samuel Jr. I think there's a very good reason why he's still out there. I mean, there's a lot of injury concerns, and he wasn't that great. Otherwise, he would have got re-signed. I
It's
would
kind of weird
rather
that he
if
hasn't signed yet, right?
yeah, I would rather roll the dice on a guy like Gilmore, who is at least, last year he played really good. I'd rather roll the dice that he's going to hold up for one more year than sign Samuel to a 3 or 4 year deal, and then he turns around and doesn't play. I get Ladarius Green type of vibes off of Asante Samuel.
He is injured a lot, and Adam brought up in the chat that he had a shoulder issue. He's been injured a lot. He's a smaller guy too.
I think I would have taken a flyer on him as a QB3 or as CB3 though, just to not be your every down guy, and like there's talent there. His career definitely did not live up to that draft pick, but like the talent's still there. I don't know. He would have been interesting to take a flyer on.
Still out there. I think the Steelers have done it in the secondary. I don't think they're going to add anybody else. I think they're pretty comfortable with this room, which is kind of scary. Because, again, we didn't even bring up slot corner, which is still Beanie Bishop and I guess Brandon Eccles, but Eccles played outside more last year, so I don't know where that all falls in.
The kid they drafted as a punt returner in the 7th round, he might give Beanie some competition. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, Bishop is obviously at this point a Tomlin guy. So rather than challenge him, you hope he improves. It's possible. I mean, he didn't have the worst year last year, but last year he was okay. There were times, especially against the run, where it was like, oh my gosh. And then he got cooked a few times. He got better, but he came up with timely interceptions. There's something to be said for a guy with sticky hands in your secondary. I think it's a lot better if he's our dime guy than our starting nickel or our depth piece at in the secondary. I just think there's guys out there right now we could go get. I mean, yeah, I would rather take a flyer and let Samuel compete with Bishop and see what happens between the two of them. But again, I just want to stick. If you're going Aaron, and let's face it, I mean, everybody in the NFL thinks we're getting Aaron at this point. The only thing is he hasn't signed a contract. If we're getting Aaron, you might load up on vets and just go for
it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's see how much Aaron, if he sticks to his $10 million per season, that's gonna be real interesting.
I actually thought Beanie Bishop had started to come around just before Sutton got back. I thought probably a 3-game stretch there right before Sutton came back.
Yeah.
I was questioning every single week why in the hell Sutton is even on the field, because Beanie was clearly playing better than Sutton was, but Sutton is a Tomlin guy. And I mean, Beanie played 3 snaps week 16 and gets a pick. 3 snaps. Sutton's there all freaking year and can't tackle somebody. He can't register in the damn stat sheet, but yet Beanie gets a pick in 3 snaps. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Cam Sutton's a chapter in the Steelers' defensive book that I'm going to write of questionable moves. I mean, the guy was I don't know if he was never proven guilty, but some of the stuff he was accused of was just horrific. So, all right, you sign this guy. Not only is he that, but he's terrible too. He's clearly washed. And the Steelers held a roster spot for him for 8 weeks, thinking that this guy was going to give them something. Their evaluation in the secondary is just awful. I'm just telling you, it's awful. The way they evaluate players in the secondary is just awful.
Well, that was you could tell it was the plan all along that somehow Sutton was going to be, after his suspension, our great midseason addition. You could tell. I mean, they never deviated off that plan. I said it before the season. I said my fear is that they're going to play Beanie Bishop and some other guys and just hope to get through, and then Sutton will come in and save the day. And he was terrible. He was terrible in Detroit the year before. There was a time where he was a pretty good cornerback for us. I totally get it. But he went to Detroit. They played him out of position. They made it. Thought he was cornerback 1. He was terrible and lost his confidence. Has the allegations, gets cut. We re-sign him for some god awful reason. And then the whole plan all along was, well, he comes back, we'll stick him in. And then you wonder, like a lot of the I'm wondering if they didn't lose the defensive room, and that's why the communication got so bad towards the end of the season, is because everybody was pissed that there's one guy who can't follow directions, and that's Cam Sutton.
That was the rumor. But the rumor before was Cam Sutton was the smartest guy on the defense. That he knew the playbook and he was this, bright guy that could call this, help the secondary make their calls and stuff. I don't know what happened between when he left Pittsburgh and when he came back, when he couldn't, maybe just didn't give a shit at this point anymore. Maybe he was just playing out the season. And that's it. I don't think he's on a roster, right? He's done.
Yeah, he's gone.
And then I saw somebody, I think Adam brought up in the chat about Mike Hilton. Man, that position's gone. We don't have that position anymore. It's not that we don't need to replace Mike Hilton. That position of blitzing off the nickel corner, they haven't done that now in 4 years.
And if they're not going to do that,
Austin doesn't do that.
Yeah, if they're not going to do that, that's you're taking half of 3/4 of Hilton's value right off the bat. So it's not even worth.
Right, which is why he was okay in Cincinnati, but they didn't blitz him nearly enough, and they found out what happens when you put Mike Hilton in coverage.
All right, let's switch gears. We've been talking about discussing this undrafted free agent class for like 3 pods, and we've never get into it. So let's just get it out of the way. I'll read the names. You guys tell me if anybody sticks out. You like anybody? I was listening to Alex Kozora. He said this is a great group. This is the Steelers' best group in a while. I'm a little underwhelmed, but I'll read the names and we'll get into it a little bit more. J.J. Galbraith, tight end from South Dakota State. Sebastian Castro, the guy that Bob likes from Iowa. Ben Sauls, kicker from Pitt. Rock Taylor, wide receiver from Memphis. DJ Thomas Jones, fullback, South Carolina. Aiden Williams, guard, Minnesota Duluth. And Keyshawn Williams, wide receiver, Indiana. Trent, you go first. Anybody stick out to you there that you like?
Well, I'm going to say that I agree with Bob on this one. I think Sebastian Castro is a guy who not only makes the team, I think he becomes more of like a core special team guy, and I would not be shocked if that dude ends up competing to be a nickel corner in this defense. I know he's a safety by trade, but he moves around a lot in that Iowa defense. Kind of played a little bit. I mean, he's obviously not anywhere near the same level athlete as Minkah Fitzpatrick, but like Minkah was used in that star position in the Alabama defense, and they kind of use Sebastian Castro in that same way. He's built way too small to truly be a strong safety, but he plays with that mentality and that aggression, and he plays very fast. Like he diagnoses things really quickly. His RAS score is god awful, but that dude he's a gamer, man. I just think he shows up and makes plays, and he overcomes his athletic ability with just intelligence and just a quick diagnosis of what's in front of him. So I like that kid. I think it would not surprise me if he got a handful of snaps here and there throughout the season on defense.
Bob, what about you? Anybody stick out besides Castro, or Castro your guy?
Yeah, I love Castro. I think I'm shocked he didn't get drafted. I really am. I thought he was probably 4th best safety in the class, maybe 5th. And he should have gone off the board. The Steelers got a steal there. I mean, if you had told me we'd taken Sawyer or Castro in the 6th or 7th, I'd have been ecstatic and got one of those other guys as a free agent. I think Trent's 100% right. Or special teams guy, and the Steelers play so much 3 wide receiver or 3 safety set. I think he's the 3rd guy. I don't think there's any way that somebody beats him out for that 3rd spot. I mean, yeah, he could come in and shit the bed and be terrible, but I don't think so. I mean, I watched his tape. I love him. And he's got a nose for the football. He's a hitter. I think he belongs in the Steeler defense.
See, I don't know if he makes the team, guys. You got Thornhill, you've got Killebrew. I mean, if he plays slot, that's his easiest way to the roster, I suppose, because beating out Beanie Bishop's not exactly too difficult a task. We'll see. I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of them, so I'm under withhold judgment.
I don't think Thornhill makes the team. Or if he does.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't be shocked if he did make the team, honestly. I mean, he's been a disappointment, I think, most of his career. So,
I mean, unless he totally turns it around. I mean, but if somebody's thinking Thornhill's going to turn into the next coming of Joe Hayden as a safety, he's not beating out Deshaun Elliott. He's not beating out Minkah. And if it's close between him and Castro, let's say he's even a little better than Castro, then you go with the rookie. You don't keep the guy who's proven over 4 or 5 years that you've probably seen the best he's got to offer.
You don't think they can get Castro on the practice squad and stick with Thornhill for a little while and see how it works out? I mean, I think that's probably the.
I don't. I think if they put him on the practice squad, somebody will snatch him. He's way too good to have gone undrafted.
If his numbers were better, if his testing numbers were a lot better, that dude was getting drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Like he was just, his numbers were so bad. I mean, I'm looking at his RAS score right now. He was a 4.48. You know, he ran a 4.59 40 at 5'11", 203. I actually thought he was a little less than that. I didn't think he weighed 203 personally. But I mean, nothing special in the 20-yard split, 10-yard split. The shuttle was terrible. You know, vertical, 30-inch vertical, 9-foot broad jump. I mean, like there was not a single number above yellow on his RAS score, and that's what killed him, I think, because when you watch Iowa's defense, he shows up all the time when you watch the film of Iowa's defense, and he plays way better than his numbers suggest.
Yeah, he's the 3rd percentile in vertical jump for safeties. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I like the kid. Go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say Rock Taylor's another interesting one, although I don't know. I mean, he's kind of I think Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson are the guys they're probably going to have as
he might make the practice squad. He'll be a practice squad guy because they're going to need a depth there.
I could see that too.
I like the Galbraith kid the tight end out of South Dakota State. He ran a 4.67 40. I looked that up because he didn't go to the combine.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been 3rd best out of tight ends that ran. So that's pretty good. He played with an injured shoulder in 2024, so that kept his stats down. He's a pretty good sized kid, so I'd keep an eye on him. He might make some noise.
Yeah, he and Darnold Parham are going to be very similar player types. It'll be interesting to see like who wins out that kind of competition. I think that one could get a lot closer than people think. And I saw somebody. Oh, it's on the screen right now. That DJ Thomas Jones, the possible fullback. If he can play special teams, I obviously do not watch South Alabama football, but like if he can play special teams and he can show up there in the preseason, Connor Hayward might be in trouble. I think Connor Hayward's roster spot is in dire jeopardy, and you got a guy who has played some fullback and tight end.
Right.
If he can block and he can play special teams, you could easily see a path where that kid makes the roster as well, because I don't think that Connor fits Arthur Smith's system in any way.
Do you think they'd cut Connor?
Oh yeah,
with Cam still on the roster.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh man,
well, I don't think they're
100%.
re-signing him. Even and this is last year. So
I think they let him play it out. I think he makes. I have a feeling he's going to make the roster.
he's
just
been okay
because-
on special teams. Somebody's going to really have to outside him on.
And I'm no Connor Hayward fan. I the day they drafted him, I said it was a waste of time, and I've been saying it ever since. The only reason he's still on this team is because I think he's Cam's brother, and I think the reason he makes this team this year is because he's Cam. Because if this kid, and I haven't watched any South Alabama football either, obviously, they've wanted a true fullback for a couple of seasons. They drafted the kid. Well, they brought in an undrafted free agent kid last year, and he retired on them like halfway through the process.
He didn't even make it to training camp.
Yeah, they want a true fullback. They just haven't had the chance yet. And Connor Hayward is not a fullback in any definition of the word. He's just not. He's not big enough. He's kind of that tweener tight end.
College.
What is it?
He was a fullback in college.
Wasn't he a running back?
No,
He was-
Slash full.
He was a running back to start, and he moved to fullback after I forget who showed up there after he was there, but yeah,
He converted to tight end his senior year, I think. Just one thing, I mean, I've made this point about Hayward before. He is the shortest tight end to play in the NFL since the 1950s. There's a reason why tight ends are not 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he's just
and he was only 230 pounds. I mean, Najee Harris outweighed him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't fit this team. I mean, he could probably fit a team, but I just don't think he fits our team.
He adds nothing to the roster. And I know some people were high on Aiden Williams, the guard out of Minnesota Duluth. I'm a little guy, 6'6", 295. Tall, skinny guard. Not skinny, obviously, but not 300-pound guard. We'll see.
Played tackle,
Small
did he?
school.
played left tackle most of his career, and then they're projecting him. Yeah, they're projecting him to slide inside.
If he ends up being the 7th or 8th lineman, I don't know that would be shocking. It just depends on how well he plays. I mean, he's not going to challenge as a starter.
No.
He's a guy you're picking up as a developmental guy. Maybe you try to put in 15 pounds on him and see how he develops and see if he has something. Because there's people who think he's pretty athletic. So, I don't know. He's going to be a practice squad guy that they're going to try to hope develops into something more.
Somber says he'd be a better tight end than Connor. He's 6'5" and 215 or 230. So yeah, call your agent. Let's go. He's out there for a non-roster invitee.
All right, let's whip through the position groups, and I'll read the names. You guys tell me if the depth is good, not good, okay. Let's start at quarterback. Obviously, this is to TBD with Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard right now. I tweeted out yesterday that I think it's bottom 5 quarterback room in the league. I don't think that's even debatable right now until Aaron gets here.
Right.
Yeah, but I think in a vacuum, you can't ignore the fact that 90% of the NFL thinks he's going to be here.
Until he's here. I agree with you, but until he's here, they put themselves in kind of a pickle. Because, I mean, this is Aaron Rodgers. He could do anything. Anything. Retire, play for the Steelers, play for another team, join the Army. Who the fuck knows what Aaron Rodgers would do? Join a band. You know.
Yeah, I would say the chances of retirement are 0.
Yeah, I agree. If it's this current quarterback room, like, I mean, we're definitely bottom of the league. There's just not going to be too many rooms that are worse than this one. But if you sign Aaron Rodgers, then it's like completely changing that. And Dave, when you posted that was like my first thing. Like, how much does this change if Aaron signs? Right? Like, I mean, it makes a huge difference. It's amazing what one guy can change to your quarterback room. But right now,
desperately.
Right now, like you have to make the argument we're one of the worst quarterback rooms in the NFL.
Yeah. If it turns out being Mason Taylor, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson, yeah.
That might be one of the worst quarterback rooms of all time to start a season. Week 1. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at all of them, but holy shit. That's
Kent
not
Graham,
good.
Mike Tomczak, Cordell Stewart was pretty bad.
I would take Cordell Stewart over any of these 3. It's just, I mean, Jesus Christ. You got a 6th-round pick, you know, a journeyman.
Cordell Stewart couldn't beat out Kent Graham that year.
No.
So you had Kent Graham, Tomczak, and Cordell was the 3rd. I think Cordell ended
they
up
were in love with They were in love with Kent Graham at that time, weren't they? They thought he was going to be something, and he wasn't.
I don't know if they were in love. I think Coward just was like, "Oh my God, how bad is this?"
All right, let's go to running backs. Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, Caleb Johnson, and Cordell Patterson. This is a good room, excluding Cordell Patterson, obviously. This is a really good room. This could be the strength.
I don't think you can even include him. I think it'll be Ward or Shampkin, who's.
They probably only go 3 running backs anyway, so they might not even, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the top 3, that's a pretty good room they put together. I love Caleb Johnson. I think it's the best draft pick of all of them.
I think Caleb Johnson ends up starting pretty early in the process. I think he gets the majority of the carries this year. I think they're probably going to run it a lot of the same way they tried to do with Jalen and Najee in the past couple of years. I think Jalen reassumes the 3rd down role. But I think Caleb ends up being the workhorse of this offense. Pretty. I wouldn't be surprised if it was week 1, to be honest with you.
I think Gainwell's we talked about that last week, Trent. I said by week 4, and then Tony said right off the bat he's going to be the starter. So yeah, we're definitely on the same page as you.
Well, I think I think it's going to be longer than that. I think Jalen's going to get the majority of the carries the first 4 weeks. Because just the way the Steelers treat rookies, unless Johnson is so undeniable, but I think they're going to give Johnson or Warren a chance. But I think what they'll find as it goes through is Warren is effective, but Johnson will be effective. So there's no reason not to split it. But by the end of the year, I think it'll flip from 60-40 Jalen to 60-40 Johnson.
Yeah, I tweeted out I thought it would be 51-49 in favor of Johnson, but I think Arthur Smith's going to be standing on a table pounding at the table to make Johnson the guy. Like he fits everything Arthur Smith wants to do. So he's just a seamless fit.
And Kenneth Gainwell is the best third running back we've had in a long time too. That's a pretty decent pickup for a third running back. So that's a good room. All right, wide receiver: George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Robert Woods, Ben Skoranek. Much better than last year. They usually keep 5, so who wins between Robert Woods and Skoranek is going to be interesting, or even Roman Wilson. You could throw in that.
I think
final.
I think they'll keep 6 this year.
You think they'll keep 6?
Yeah, they love
all 6 of those guys.
Special teams, yeah.
Yeah, Skoranek does add a lot in special teams. I guess I wouldn't be surprised.
And I think, like Tony said when we had him on last week, Woods is probably the starter in the slot wide receiver set.
I think I would not be shocked at all. He can block. Puts him at the top of the class. It puts him right at the head of the line.
When they're going to throw, I think it'll be even more telegraphed when they're going to throw the ball, because then you'll see Woods come off, Austin will come on. But the good part about Woods versus like a Scotty Miller, Woods is at least proven he can get open and do something with the ball when you do give him a chance in the league. I mean, it's not, he's older, so he doesn't need to play every down. But if you get that guy, on that 2 wide receiver, I formation, 2 tight end set, the 12 personnel, it's not just a foregone conclusion Woods is not going to get the ball. Whereas Scotty Miller and all those other guys that they threw out there last year, you knew they weren't throwing the ball.
Yeah. I mean, how much 12 personnel do you think we're going to see? I think it's going to be quite a bit. I think Tomlin's got his running back room that he really loves now, and he might want to ride that.
Again, this is another thing that you could really bring back to the Aaron Rodgers thing. Aaron loves to spread the ball out. He likes to run more spread offense. So, I know we're going to run out of 12 personnel in the obvious rundowns, but at what point do we look at Aaron Rodgers signing with this team and say, to Bob's point, we're keeping 6 receivers if Aaron Rodgers is on the roster because he wants 4 of them on the field.
Yeah,
he doesn't want Darnell Washington on 3rd and 8 out there running freaking routes. He wants that other receiver out there because he knows he can get rid of the ball quick and he doesn't need the extra blocker.
We talked about this early in the process. Yeah, we talked about this early in the process, right, Bob? About there's going to be some conflict with Aaron Rodgers on his team. The way Mike Tomlin likes to run offense and the way Aaron Rodgers likes to run offense. So this is going to be really interesting if and when he ever gets here.
He ran a lot. They not a ton of 12 personnel necessarily, but they ran a lot of 2-back offense, that pony backfield stuff in Green Bay when he was there. I think they at one point they were running that nearly 20% of the time for a little while. They kind of abandoned it at one point, but you had an offensive minded coach there versus Tomlin being more of a defensive minded guy. So there's going to be a battle of wills at some point, and you've got to. If Aaron is going to sign here, and I think we all think that that's happening, you have to assume there is a handshake deal on the table that we're going to let you have a little control over what's going on in the pass game. And Arthur Smith already said last year he did not run his passing offense last year either. He changed his offense from what he had in Tennessee. So I don't think it's, impossible to think that that's not going to be the case. The run game is going to be the same, but I think we're going to see less 12 personnel if Aaron's here.
Dave chimed in here, said Rodgers will do what Arthur Smith says and like it. Yeah, I don't think – come on. This is Uncle Aaron here. This is not just your run-of-the-mill quarterback. I think it's the other way around, but we'll see. All right, let's skip over to the offensive line. We've got Troy Fuatanu, Zach Frazier, Isaac Sayamalu, Mason McCormick, Broderick Jones, Dylan. Now the backups is what's a little scary. The starting tackles are a little scary, now the backups. Dylan Cook, Spencer Anderson, Calvin Anderson, Ryan McCullum, and I threw Max Shopping in there just for shits and giggles. They did nothing to address depth in this offensive line. Especially when you have a tackle coming off a major injury. I don't know if you can assume, he's going to be able to start week 1, no problems whatsoever. We talked about it, Bob. Them getting a veteran tackle, like a swing guy, it seemed like a foregone conclusion. Didn't happen.
They got Calvin Anderson.
Oh my God!
And don't forget,
God help us all.
Don't forget Spencer Anderson can play out there too.
Yeah, but you want him playing inside more than outside, I think. You don't want Spencer Anderson getting snaps at tackle.
Look,
Aaron Rodgers doesn't want that.
You have essentially 2 firsts and a 4th and a 2nd tied with a veteran top 12-ish guard in Sayamalu. You have spent all you need to spend on the offensive line. These guys have got to perform now. You can't keep throwing resources at that until you put all these guys out on the field and it either goes terribly wrong or terribly good. And I think it's going to go good because Broderick at left tackle, I think everybody's going to remember that, oh, yeah, there's a reason we traded up for this guy. And he'll have his best season as a pro. I think Fatano will be solid. I would rather have seen them get a tackle and kick Fatano into guard to challenge Sayamalo. And I think that is the long-term plan, by the way. I think they will get a tackle eventually. But, yeah, I'm okay. I think this offensive line is either going to be the best line we've had in 6 years or we're going to be terrible and we're going to get whichever quarterback we want next year.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're replacing a tackle on this team, it's more likely Broderick Jones than it is Fuatano. I mean, he struggled out there.
He's only played 1 game at left tackle in his career.
I understand
and it's
that.
the highest graded tackle performance by a Steeler since Villanueva in 19.
I was actually a little more surprised that we didn't go after a guard in free agency to challenge, McCormick. I thought maybe we would go that route. I wasn't expecting a high-end signing as a tackle, but like even going after a Jedrick Wills or somebody who was out there who was kind of like the talent was there, but he just wasn't very good in Cleveland. Like, I don't know. The backups are pretty bad. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Spencer Anderson, I thought played fine last year. I mean, was there much difference when he or McCormick were on the field? I don't think so. They were pretty much the same guy. They just like McCormick because they drafted him higher. But the backups just, it's not good. I mean, McCollum played really well when he played. So I guess, if you want a backup that you can have a little bit of a spotlight on, like, he played much better than I think people thought he was going to when, he was in the game. So, but it's bad.
Yeah, I thought they would. We talked about it. I thought they would go out and get a premier guard and maybe replace Sayamalu. Cut their losses with him because he was okay last year. But again, he's getting up there in age. He's in the last year of his contract. That's a spot I thought they could really spend some money in free agency, but they decided not to spend any money in free agency. So here we are with the Anderson twins and McCollum as your depth. I think they were deeper last year, to be honest. This is scary.
I was shocked they cut Dylan Cook after they put him on IR, brought him back, and like cut him last year, and then brought him back to the team later. Like, I thought people were a little higher on Dylan Cook than that. I mean, why would you waste an IR spot on a guy that you then turned around and cut later on? Like that part, that whole decision made no sense to me. IR spots are very limited in the NFL, and to use one on that guy and then just be like, bye.
As soon as he gets off, just kind of. I don't know. It's, again,
that was confusing.
Decision making on this team is bananas sometimes. All right, and there's only one fullback. Well, there's 2 fullbacks. We talked about it: DJ Thomas Jones and Hayward. I think Jones makes it. We'll see. Well, actually, I don't think Jones makes it because I think they're not going to cut Hayward. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. All right, let's flip over. Go ahead.
I don't remember the Titans or the Falcons really running a lot of 2-back sets. So I think
it was always a tight end.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point, Bob. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think if that kid's going to make the roster, he has to do really well on special teams. I mean, that's going to be what it boils down to.
As a little side note, Shower Curtain's got a question for us. Do you think Tomlin will ever get to another Super Bowl before he retires, and will it be with Pittsburgh? Anybody want to take this one?
Another
Super
Bowl?
It all hinges on what quarterback they get in 26. If they flub that, or don't do it, and try another veteran Band-Aid, no, they're never going to win the Super Bowl.
I think the only way it happens is if a new change in leadership comes in and says, I'm sorry, Mike, but you have no power over your assistants. You got to have a Chuck Noll level extinction event with Tomlin's coaching staff to get there.
I like that. I mean, how do you feel about Arthur Smith? That's probably his best hire in a long time.
Yeah. I was going to say, I actually think Arthur Smith was better than people gave him credit for last year. I think Tomlin vetoes a lot of what he wants to do.
I agree with that 1,000%.
Arthur Smith. I mean, think about how many times did Tannehill throw over the middle of the field when he was in Tennessee? The Atlanta guys, trying to get the ball in the middle of the field. Now they were horrible quarterbacks and it didn't work out well, but like he is not the type of coordinator. I mean, Calvin Austin ran wide open game after game, time after time on these crossing patterns where the quarterbacks just were told not to even look at him. I mean, he was open on film a lot, and we did not get him the ball. Freiermuth was open a lot, especially early in the season. Didn't even try to get him the ball. Like, I don't think those things are Arthur Smith issues. That's Mike Tomlin telling quarterbacks, you're not throwing in the middle of the field unless it's at least behind the safeties. Like, that's the only time we were thrown to the middle of the field is it was shots downfield in the middle of the field between the safeties. I think it's a Tomlin thing.
Point. Yeah, he basically admitted it at one of his press conferences. He doesn't like to throw over the middle. So all right, let's get back to what we were. Flip over to the defense. Defensive line, this is deep with a lot of names. I don't know if it's a lot of quality names, but we'll go through it. Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon, Yaya Black. Did I get that right? Dean Lowry, Isaiah Loudermilk, DeMarvin Leal, Daniel Ukele, I don't know, and Logan Lee. And there's a couple other guys that they signed to. They usually keep 6. I think they keep, Hayward, Benton, Harmon, and Black, and then after that, it's a toss-up.
This might be like.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say this might be like the most interesting room in camp, is to figure out who makes this D line this year, because I think it's very deep. More role guys. I mean, your top 3 are good guys. Yeah. Black. I think Black was a great pickup in the draft, but guys like Loudermilk.
Right.
Yeah.
If they use them right, they use them as a nose and not an end like the defensive coordinator wants.
Yeah, I mean, I like the room. I think there's obvious upgrades in this room as opposed to where we were last year. I mean, Black, I think, is going to be a better player than maybe Monty Adams was last year with the injuries that he was going through. Now, 2 years ago, Monty, I liked him a lot. If you look at Larry O versus now bringing in Derek Harmon, I mean, if you can't say that's a clear upgrade, then I mean, I don't know what you're looking at, because Larry O has been god awful. But I think we've definitely upgraded that room.
Yeah, I totally.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I totally agree. The top 4 are better, and then whatever crap rises out of the rest of it for the bottom 6 will probably be pretty good. I mean, ideally, if Loudermilk does not make the team, I think we're really, really good on defensive line.
I'm kind of fascinated with Logan Lee. He tested really, really well. He might be on the wrong team. He's kind of like more of a 4-3 end than he's a 3-4 type of player. I don't know what their plan is with him. I don't know why they drafted him. It's not a good fit. But I mean, I was just looking at his numbers. He was in the 93rd percentile in broad jump, 76th in vertical, ran a 5.05 40 at 6'5", 281. I mean, good athlete, pretty good player at Iowa. Steelers have
he's another pass rush specialist on the defensive line. He wasn't even an every down guy in Iowa. Like, he was not a 3-down player. He came in for pass rush situations. I mean, they keep going this route with this defensive front. He's interesting.
Yeah. I'd like to see him get some time, see what they can make out of him. But again, it's kind of doesn't fit the defense they play.
Mm-hmm.
So he could getting cut and end up being successful somewhere else. Inside linebacker, this is a pretty deep group too. Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, Mark Robinson, and Carson Bruner. Is this the end for Mark Robinson?
Probably.
Right?
I would say so.
He's a good special teams player, though. Mark Bruner's going to have to prove he can play special teams to knock him off the...
He logged a lot of special team snaps in Washington, though. I mean, he did log it. I think that's a clear replacement. I mean, that's a 1-for-1 replacement between those two guys. So Holcomb...
Yeah, we don't know what we're getting with Holcomb. We have no idea.
Don't even get me started on the whole E-Rob thing, because I was pissed. I mean, I was flat out pissed they didn't bring E-Rob back. Like, I thought for sure Holcomb would be gone, Erod would be back here again, and we'd run this thing back, but that's questionable.
I'd rather have Erod than Malik Harrison. I mean, what are we doing? If you're looking for a rundown specialist, who's better than him? Who's better than Landon Roberts? He was the best player on the defense sometimes.
We'll have to see if Harrison is any kind of an upgrade. Roberts was such a liability when he was on the field. Yes, he's a great run defender, but any quarterback worth his salt gets out there, looks, and says, "Oh, Roberts is on the field. Hey, we're passing to the tight end here." It doesn't matter if they know, they can't stop it.
I mean, what do you think they're going to think when they put Yaya Black and Jack Sawyer on the field? It's just going to be the same thing. It's like, oh, they're on their run defense. Spread them out.
Yeah, but that at least, Sawyer's an edge. Yaya Black's a defensive tackle.
Yeah, I guess.
Landon Roberts was covering. that was the problem.
Oh, that goes back to the defense of who's calling the plays. You shouldn't have been covering.
Personally, we talked about the Mike Hilton role. You want to change this defense overnight? Bring back that role. Bring back that, okay, I blitz off the edge, and you put Peyton Wilson in that role.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a quarterback's having a real problem? That guy is the fastest guy in the defense. I mean, you put him in that nickel corner coming off the edge, and you had to block TJ and Alex or Hayward and Herbig, and all of a sudden this guy's flying off the edge. You can't stop that.
Dave said you're absolutely right about, I don't know what, but we might want to snapshot this and take a screenshot of this. This is the first time Dave's ever said that. Bob is absolutely right. That's a pretty good room overall, I guess. I know our guest last week, Tony Serino, did not love Patrick Queen, has no love for Patrick Queen, but I don't know.
Well, we're stuck with him now.
Yeah, we are. So we better hope he gets better.
Yeah.
Outside linebacker, as deep as it gets at this point. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, Jack Sawyer, and I don't know, Jeremiah Moon, we hardly knew you. You could be on the way out the door. But that's a solid 4, I guess. I still don't know what. I have my reservations about Jack Sawyer, but we'll have to wait and see.
Not sure you're going to find a better forward edge, though.
Yeah,
true. NFL.
True. I mean, especially at his contract. I mean, he's going to be pretty cheap. Not much else to say there. They got a solid group. That should be pretty good. Cornerback is where it gets a little scary. You got Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay, Corey Trice, James Pierre, Brandon Eccles, Benny Bishop, and Dante Kent. That is not a tremendous room. That is
last year.
Yeah, because Darius Slay, I guess, makes it better. If he plays, if he has one more season left in him, then
addition by subtraction too with Cam Sutton. Look, Dante Jackson was an okay player for us, but I think Slay's better than Dante Jackson. I would have liked to have seen them keep Dante Jackson as the slot corner. Or at least let him compete for it.
Yeah. That was a disaster. They're better off without Dante Jackson. He doesn't want to tackle. Did he end up on a roster? Is he somewhere?
Yeah, he got picked up. I can't remember where he got picked up now, to be honest with you, but I do remember seeing he got picked up.
I haven't heard his name in a while.
I feel like he ended up out west somewhere.
Possibly.
Did he go to the Chargers? Did he go to the Chargers, Najee?
He might have. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I don't remember hearing his name at all.
Yep, he's a Charger.
Good call.
Yep.
So
look, he was okay. I mean, if Dante Jackson's your third or fourth corner, you probably got a pretty good secondary. When he's your second, look, let's face it. Whether they floated it to him or not, you got to catch the ball. He had, he almost led the league in interceptions. So,
yeah, right place, right time.
Yeah, I guess.
I think we upgraded it. I don't know. I just think we upgraded the corner room, but it wasn't. I mean, it's still not a good room.
It's still not a great room. Yeah, they tried to upgrade it. I mean, Brandon Eccles, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't watch a lot of Brandon Eccles last year. I don't know what he brings to the table.
He's not very good.
No, there you go.
He's not very good, but he's not very good. But I felt like he was the pickup where they wanted somebody to compete with Beanie Bishop without outright getting rid of Beanie Bishop, and they also wanted somebody who has flexibility to bump outside to play in case Corey Trice goes down again. I mean, that's kind of what the Eccles signing was to me. When I saw that, I'm like, Yeah, they're all in on Corey Trice, but Eccles at least is going to try to compete inside.
Avon says we still won the trade.
Yep.
True
Can't
story.
argue that. Deontay Jackson played all year, almost led the league in interceptions.
Do you think Tomlin could have kept Deontay Johnson on the field for 17 games?
No.
Because if he could have, then they lost the trade.
I'm sorry.
Because
how did Deontay Johnson do in Carolina again?
that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying Mike Tomlin is a different coach than the Carolina coach. Let's be honest. Let's be fair.
He was done with him. They wouldn't have got rid of him if he wasn't. So you get the guy who is, top 10 in the NFL in interceptions, no matter how he got him, versus the guy who got cut.
Stop it with the top 10 in interceptions bullshit.
Versus, okay, Deontay Johnson he got cut. He got cut.
What my premise is, Bob, if he stayed in Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin was in control,
he wouldn't stay in Pittsburgh. They were done with that's how little they thought of him.
Yeah, I did a whole episode about how Khan obviously just sent him to freaking wide receiver purgatory and sending him to Carolina. Like he was like, well, let's see what is the absolute worst fucking situation I could send this dude to. Oh, Carolina needs a receiver. Yeah, there we go. Go enjoy Bryce Young for a little bit.
And not to mention the fact, okay, so you get cut by Carolina, and then you fall into a dream scenario to go to Baltimore.
Yeah, you can't defend what he did after that. You can't.
No,
he fell off the reservation after
Carolina, yeah.
Well, I could see him getting a little frustrated in Carolina with that quarterback. Wasn't playing that great at the time. He ended up playing better as the season went along. But I don't know. I'm not going to spend too much time defending Deontay Johnson.
He got booted out of Houston too right after that. I mean, there was a point where you were going to question whether he got to play for more teams in one season than Deontay Jackson had interceptions in the NFL last year.
And now, it might be the best thing. People are like, oh, I think you tweeted this out. Oh, it could be a really good signing in Cleveland. Yeah, for the Steelers, absolutely.
Yeah, he's going to get real well with the quarterback situation.
Yeah, the quarterback situation is horrible. It's not going to be good for him. It's not going to be good for him at all.
Yeah, him and Kenny Pickett got along swimmingly.
But he's Super Bowl champion, Kenny Pickett now.
Yeah, it's true.
That must have been
show that ring off to Deontay. Hey, look what I got when I got cut.
Oh my God!
This time you're listening to me.
Yeah, right after they cut Kenny Pickett 3 weeks in a training camp because they got their quarterbacks.
Honestly, I think Buffalo should have brought him in just to make him play every preseason snap with Mitch Trubisky, and then at the end of those preseason said, "See you, Deontay."
I mean, that had to be his only offer, right? Because there's no way he's voluntarily picking Cleveland. There's no way. You just have no other offers.
Honestly, though, you could make an argument with him that it's his best opportunity to actually get on the field. Because beyond duty.
Yeah, they have nothing.
Yeah. But again, he's one of those guys where everything needs to be right for him to, he's got to have a good quarterback, a good offensive coordinator, a good offense, and then he'll flourish. To go to Cleveland where there's going to be quarterback controversies at the yin-yang, he's going to implode.
He's washed. I mean, he's washed. And he did it to himself.
Mentally, he's washed. Physically, he's still, he's not even 30 yet, is he?
I think he just turned 30.
I think physically he's got stuff in the tank. He's gone the AB route for whatever reason. I just don't understand. But
you could argue Ben made his career. Like looking back, Ben made a lot of guys.
You can make the argument Ben hung him out to dry a lot too. There was more than one occasion where he threw him some death balls across the middle, and Deontay Johnson got the shit kicked out of him. So it goes both ways.
As opposed to Mitch Trubisky, who was throwing him. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think you can criticize Ben for Deontay's drop problem.
If you're looking for somebody to defend Mitch Trubisky, you're at the wrong guy. You're at the wrong guy. All right, let's finish up.
Backwards and everything else. No.
Yeah, I know. It's just the talent was there, and it kills me. It just kills me that he unfulfilled talent. Let's finish up. Safety room: Minka Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, Miles Killebrew, and you guys' favorite Iowa safety, Sebastian Castro. It's a pretty solid room overall. I don't know how Castro cracks that unless somebody gets hurt. I think the Steelers like Thornhill a little bit. We'll see. Oh, here we go.
Juan's got a good one. Dave hates everyone except DJ. Yeah, I don't get
I got a soft spot for DJ. I don't know. I just do.
I think the safety group's better. I do think Castro's going to make the team over Thornhill. I've never been impressed by Thornhill. I think he may, if he makes the team, it's only because Castro isn't quite ready to be the third safety. But I think Castro makes the team as a special teams guy, and I think by halfway through the year, if they do keep Thornhill, he won't be seeing the field.
Yeah.
I think the earlier point that he makes it as a slot guy is kind of more his path.
Yeah.
Maybe a jack of all trades type of guy. He can play safety, he can play slot, special teams. That might be his best path to the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this: I'm going to really question whether or not this could be Minka Fitzpatrick's last season in Pittsburgh.
There's definitely something to be seen here.
Like $26 million cap hit, I think, going into 2026 for a guy who's not producing the way that you're paying him to produce. There'll be a lot of angry people about that comment, but I think it's coming.
I don't disagree. I think this is a make or break season. Do you think? Let me get your take on this, Trent. Do you think it's more him or the way they use him on defense?
100% the way they use him. I mean, like there was times last year he's playing 20 yards off the ball. At one point, I saw him 30 yards off the ball. I'm like, what the hell? Like, you're bitching about this dude not getting in to make plays, and I thought we were supposed to be bringing Minka ball back last year. There was no part of anything involving that defense that was Minka ball. He was literally there to make sure somebody didn't score a touchdown, and that was it.
Yep. Yeah, that's become his new role on the team the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's not playing center field the way that you want him to play center field, and that's again, I'm going back to the Darius Slade thing. I'm way higher on him than I think a lot of people are, but like, if you play this more press man, then you kind of throw the whole 20 yards back for Minka Fitzpatrick thing out the window. He's 15 yards off the ball and he's attacking the ball from that point. Like I think that's the problem. Minka maybe has lost a slight step also. Like when you take away, 5 yards makes a huge difference in the NFL when it comes to an interception. I mean, you're talking about not even being close to the ball versus, making a play on the ball. And I think that's going to make a big difference. If they put him in the right spots, he can still make plays. I'm just not confident that they're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not confident.
He's going to be 29 this year. And I do feel like his contract is untradeable. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, could they outright cut him? Yeah. I mean, with what he's going to be due next year, especially if they play TJ or pay TJ. But now you're looking at a guy who's been in the league. I mean, his best year, without a doubt, was 19 when we traded for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's had games a couple of years ago against Cincinnati. I mean, he almost beat them single-handedly when TJ got hurt.
How many years does he get left in his deal? He's got to be close.
He's got 2 years left, I think, after this season.
After the season. But
I think there's an out in the contract where they could cut him next year, I think after the June 1st designation. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think if they cut him after the June 1st designation, I think that it makes the cap hit pretty minimal.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. I mean,
actually, next year is his last year because he's an unrestricted free agent in 27. So the dead cap hit next year, even though they owe him 25, is only $7 million.
Okay.
So this could be his last year in Pittsburgh. This could very well be the last year in Pittsburgh.
I knew there was an easy out next year in that contract. I couldn't remember where it was at.
Yeah. Well, so he's got this year, it would have been a $13 million hit. Next year, it's only a $7 million. I think next year is okay, Minka, you want to stay? We have the conversation like we had with Bettis and Ben and a bunch of other guys. You want to retire a Steeler? No problem. We're going to pay you $5, $6, $7 million a year. We're going to convert your contract over.
Yeah.
That could be interesting because that could be, Hayward's last year. It could be Minka's last year.
I think there
could be a lot of change. What's that?
I think this is Hayward's last year.
That's what I mean.
Unless we. Well, I think he wants to play his contract one more year, right?
Yeah, he wants to play his contract out. Yeah, he's got one more.
He does have one more.
If they go 5-12, let's just say it turns into the disaster end of where it could be, I don't think he comes back. I think he hangs it up.
I think he demands a trade to a contender. That's what I would do. If things go south, that's what I would do. I stop playing for a Super Bowl. Poor bastard. How many playoff wins does he even have? I know TJ doesn't have any. Does he have? He's got one.
Yeah,
It's
Got
crazy.
one.
They
His whole
pissed
career.
through these defensive guys' careers.
But I love the way, and we've talked about this before, and we're almost at the end. And we could certainly, I'm sure this will come up again on another podcast. Look, he was the defensive captain. He's supposed to be the leader of the team. He ain't led jack shit. I mean, they've been terrible his whole time since he's assumed a leadership role.
I don't think you can blame it on him though. That's Tomlin calling these defenses. I put that squarely on Tomlin.
I always say you can't blame it on Tomlin. You can't blame it on Cam Hayward. You can't blame it on TJ. You can't blame it on anybody, but the losing continues. Somebody's accountable for this.
Well, the playoff losing, the regular season,
Yeah.
non-losing streak is still alive.
Steelers defenders make their reputation in the playoffs, and that's why, as much as I love TJ, might be the best regular season defensive player.
How many playoff games has he played? 3?
I think 5.
5? 3? I thought it was like 3. Because wasn't he hurt for one? I don't know. He hasn't had much of an opportunity.
He was hurt for Buffalo.
Yeah, but it isn't just they lost. Like,
This is a common theme before TJ and with TJ that they've been getting blown out of playoff games. They were getting blown out against Jacksonville when TJ was freshman at Wisconsin or whatever he was.
No, the streak really started with TJ. I mean, they got blown out by New England in the championship game in 2016, and then TJ's never been competitive in a playoff game. The defense hasn't.
Yeah, but this goes back to, like I said, the Jacksonville game, which was before TJ.
TJ's rookie year.
Was it?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Go back and look. In 16, when we beat Miami and Kansas City, and then we got blown out. That's where it started. We got blown out by New England in the AFC Championship game. And then after that, it's all. And remember, Cam wasn't there. He was hurt for that.
For which one? The Jacksonville game? He played that, didn't he?
No. For the AFC Championship.
Oh, against the Patriots? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I look back at this and I say, okay, we kind of lost our way a long time ago with some of these guys. And, when you start thinking about how Ben said, me guys, especially after he retired, I almost wonder, was he talking about virtually everybody on the team? Including himself, by the way.
I was just going to say, buddy, yeah, he was the me guy. He can point fingers at other guys, but come on.
Yeah. Well, he's never actually pointed fingers. He's never called anybody out by name.
No.
But I would love to hear him put it out and start calling people by name. Look at Harrison when he was trying to get out of there. You can kind of make that argument. Harrison during that little run was like, you know what? Screw this. This ain't the team that I.
They didn't treat him right. They kept him on the roster even though they had no intentions of playing him. Yeah. They should have just cut him at one point. But they were trying to, be greedy and not let him get to another team, and they ended up playing the Patriots anyway. But all right, Greg, to answer your question, Martavis Bryant is my heart. He will always be my heart. That man crushed me. So yeah, Deontay Johnson's a distant second. Anything else before we get out of here, guys? I think we covered it pretty good.
No, maybe by Thursday we get some interesting news. I know there's been a lot of buzz around the George Pickens thing. We didn't talk too much about that, but
do you think he gets? He's not getting. It's the opportunity to move him passed already.
Yeah, but be interesting to see where this contract talk starts to go.
Oh, that's going to be a circus. That's 100% going to be a circus.
Yeah, if he gets traded, you're looking at the trade deadline at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they can trade him at this point, but I think you got to make a real serious thought of going to him with the Deontay Johnson deal. Hey, we'll give you 2 for 36 or something like that.
Yeah, you think he goes for that? That's the thing.
If he's smart,
I'm sure the Steelers would be more than happy to give him that. I don't know if he takes it.
Yeah, if he's smart, I think he does. Assuming they get Uncle Larry.
If he repeats what he did last year and goes to free agency, he's going to get more than that. He's going to get a lot more than that. Just repeat last year's stats. What do you have, 1,000 yards?
Remember what J.J. Watt says. If you want to get a hometown discount, sooner rather than later.
Yeah. All right, guys. The chat has been great again today, and we appreciate you guys coming on and contributing to the podcast. We love it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll be back Thursday. I will be on Friday with Trent and his Here We Go podcast. Looking forward to that. Anything else? We don't have a fourth yet for Thursday. We'll work that out.
Okay.
Until then, thanks for listening to Steel Sanctuary Podcast.
Later.
Is that all?
No. Wait a minute. The fuck? Why would you do that? Maybe we should think about this.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.